Joining us now on the Rich Eisen Show for the first time. I do not believe he has been a guest on this program, but as we've pointed out, he is absolutely going to the very top of the flow chart when it comes to him protecting quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield, our second-hour guest in college, then Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. What did he do when he was in Baltimore?
Lamar won MVP.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And when this guest was in Kansas City, his quarterback last year.
His quarterback was Patrick Mahomes.
And what did he do?
He won the MVP.
So Joe Burrow is going to be the MVP because Orlando Brown Jr. is now on the Cincinnati Bengals, joining us in the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Orlando?
I'm doing great, man. I appreciate you for having me on. That was a heck of an introduction.
I figured you would like that. And I give up the props to T.J. Jefferson here on the Rich Eisen Show. You pointed that out, T.J.
It's a group effort.
Do you realize that the guys that you protect turn into the MVPs? Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of do, man. It's a little weird being the one constant, but I've been very fortunate to be a part of some really good organizations, man, blocked from some amazing quarterbacks, playing to some great coaches as well. So it's all worked out really well for me.
Well, let's just jump right into it. Why are you a Cincinnati Bengal right now, Orlando?
Yeah. I just, for me, it was just the best fit. Obviously given the circumstances, man, I felt like, it's an organization that's right there on the cusp of being a Super Bowl team. And they were just in that game 2 years ago. I've played them my whole time I've been in the NFL. I've played against them the last 2 years in the AFC Championship. So I kind of knew the type of coaches they had, front office and players, and camaraderie they got in that locker room. So it was definitely a situation that was very hard for me to pass up.
Is it because you wanted to sit in a stone throne and hold this big, large stick? Is that what it was? I mean, you could have done this in Kansas City, but it would have been odd. Is that what it is?
I hear you,
Orlando. We're showing that picture right now. But again, I think look, you're a smart guy, and so I'll just go right through the door. You're in Kansas City. You win a Super Bowl. You're part of an offensive line that shuts out one of the most stout front sevens we've seen win in NFC Championship in Philadelphia. It would strike me as a spot that you'd want to stay. So I guess what happened there that you're willing to share, Orlando?
Yeah, I definitely wanted to stay, but man, sometimes in the sport, especially on this level, it's a lot of business that goes on, and there are business decisions on my side, Kansas City side, that kind of brought us to this point. And man, I would have loved nothing more than to be a Chief for the rest of my career. But like I said, man, business is business, and the way that things work out, they work out. And I have no animosity. I'm very excited for the opportunity to be a Bengal. And man, I mean, like I said, it's unfortunate how it worked out, but man, business is business. At the end of the day, my loyalty resides with who feeds my family.
And obviously, you can definitely eat as a Cincinnati Bengal. And you would know as a former Chief that you're going to most likely face the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game now as a Bengal. So, what have you learned so far at all, if anything? I know it's just a first week of Joe Burrow.
Yeah, man, I had the opportunity to sit down and talk to him for the first time, man, and I mean, it's clear and understood why he's one of the best in the game. He's got a ton of football knowledge. He really loves the game. He loves to work. And he's not in it for the clout, man. He's in it for the Super Bowls. And, he's not even in it for the personal accolades. This is a guy that really cherishes competing, cherishes playing ball. And, he's got that basketball-like mindset somewhat. He's a guy that loves basketball, and he loves the opportunity to win his one-on-ones. And, I say that hypothetically speaking, obviously from the quarterback position. Mm-hmm. He loves that. He loves to compete. And, for me as an offensive lineman, I mean, I couldn't ask for more. Obviously coming from some of the players that I've already played with, I can see that similar like mindset in him.
And so Burrow, from what I've been told, has this cool demeanor in the huddle and all the time. What was he like just chit-chatting with him?
Oh, no, super cool, man, super cool. I definitely say that nickname is fitting.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about last year and what happened with the Kansas City Chiefs and how things started to just catch fire for you guys towards the end. What did click for this team upon we all know about what the offseason changes and things of that nature. But what do you think did click for the Kansas City Chiefs that got you a ring, Orlando?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the sport of football, man, you know, especially when you're a team that's got a quarterback like 15, I think it's important not to peak too early. And so often, you know, we see teams come out firing in September, firing in October, and by the time they get to January, they aren't the same team that they were then. And I think Coach Reed, the staff, 15, everyone did an amazing job all year, staying the course. We were battle-tested. We had been in some very tough games, some dog fights, but we were battle-tested, and we just understood, you know, the assignment and understood what we needed to do. And I feel as though throughout the season, throughout each week, we just got hotter and better and hotter and better and hotter and better. And I feel like we played our best game in Super Bowl 57. And as I said, it was a real tough year, you know, as far as, you know, some of the losses that we had and even some of the wins we had. You know, to be able to win that AFC West championship in Houston was crazy. I mean, that was a dogfight. That game was insane. And, you know, you see kind of the way that it ended. But, man, I mean, and there were so many different games like that throughout the season that really tested us, and we were able to prevail.
What was 15? You referred to Mahomes by his uniform number. What was he like coming back in the huddle after he hurt his ankle and you knew something significant had happened?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of, you know, you kind of felt that energy on the sideline. You know, I mean, it was just like Pat's one of the most fiercest competitors, and it's the reason he's the number one player in this league, because of the way that he competes and the way that he approaches the game. And he's got a ton of faith in his work ethic. So coming in that huddle, I mean, it was just kind of understood, like, hey, man, we're here for a reason. We didn't come to play in the Super Bowl. We came to win it. Nothing much, honestly, not much was said except for at halftime there. And I mean, it's like I said, it's just one of those things, man. You kind of understood. You know, we have been tested all year. 15 have been dealing with his ankle, and I mean, man, it's just, you know, he's one of the most fiercest competitors I've ever been around in my life.
You got an example of that? Because, you know, we're hearing more and more about that as the winning and the championships now are beginning to pile up. Now that it's multiple, you got a good example of his competitive spirit, Orlando?
Yeah, big time, man. I mean, I think, you know, take football aside, you know, they play a little bit of basketball in the locker room, and it's nothing seriously competitive, but Pat's gonna make it competitive, and he's real big on winning. Me and Joe Tooney are elite at beer pong, elite teammates.
Okay.
And this is something that we play pretty often, and going against Pat and Trav, I mean, Pat's not going out without a fight. And it's something that, you know, the mentality and the mindset that he kind of carries throughout life and everything that he does, whether that be in the film room, whether that be something silly like bingo. I mean, it shows up day in, day out.
When you say elite, what's the example of what does an elite beer pong player look like? I mean, what do you got? What's elite? What do you got for me?
I mean, man, just the consistency and the shots dropping.
Consistency.
Playing tit for tat, playing off of each other. I miss a shot, he makes it. I make a shot, he makes it. Balls are back. I mean, you know, and it's not necessarily complicated, but I feel like it's kind of what goes into it.
Okay. And then last one for you on the Chiefs here. Did you know that was a holding call on Bradbury? Did you see it? Was the play in front of you on Juju, or you were just you were obviously otherwise engaged and then saw a flag on the field in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it was one of those situations where, man, I want to say Pat was kind of like falling back. Mm-hmm. And I just remember, I can't remember how it necessarily transpired. I remember grabbing Pat, and he's like pointing, and I look over, and it's a flag. And so I look at Philly's sideline to see their initial reaction. Their heads are down. I'm like, oh, snap. So it's obviously on the defense. And, man, I mean, he comes back in the huddle. He's like, church mode. You know, I think next play, Jet McKinnon kind of slides right there at the one. We were taking knees and trying to get the ball centered up. I mean, it was crazy how that transpired.
Taking knees is called church mode in Kansas City? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, church mode. Yeah, church mode is like a situation where you don't want to score. Don't ask me where it started. That's more of a question for Coach Reed.
Okay, sorry. Got it. All right.
But yeah.
Okay. So, but right away, the clock management math was done on the spot, so everybody knew, and so it wasn't just McKinnon having it dawn on him around the 2-yard line to slide down in bounds. It was reminded in the huddle prior to all of that. That's what you're saying.
Oh, big time. And I don't ever want to take credit away from any player,
Sure.
but, I mean, it's the NFL, man. Normally, all of those situations are practiced.
Got it. Orlando Brown Jr., a few minutes left with the new Cincinnati Bengal. Now it looks like you're going to tangle with your old team twice a year, obviously, in Baltimore. What insight to Lamar can you give all of us as we're sitting around wondering about what's going on with him and your former team? And you've obviously done business with them, and that's part of the reason why you wound up in Kansas City, left tackle, right tackle, what you thought you wanted to be. So what insight can you possibly give the rest of us right now, Orlando?
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to the Lamar situation, it gets tricky because of how much money is involved at the quarterback position. And, you know, I'm with him on asking for a fully guaranteed contract because of the standard that's been set, obviously, with Deshaun. But it's a lot of money, and those things take time. The draft hasn't happened yet. These teams are trading up. Everyone's trying to see who's going to fall to them. What are their needs? What's important? Because at the end of the day, I mean, personally, the way that I kind of look at it is, and I know it's kind of said like this, but I don't believe this. I believe that the quarterback's pot is the quarterback's pot for a franchise. What Joe Burrow makes doesn't necessarily affect what Jamar Chase or T. Higgins is going to make. What Aaron Rodgers make, like I personally feel as though those decisions are based off of however front office feels about that player as far as outside of the quarterback. So wherever Lamar goes, I believe that it's going to take a little bit of time. Some of these teams are probably still trying to figure out who's going to fall to them in the draft. And, I mean, I think he's going to end up in a great situation if it is somewhere else. I do know that, you know, obviously Baltimore has a special place in his heart. I know that the franchise definitely feels a special way about him as well. So, man, I mean, it's a tough situation to be in for any player, but it's also a good situation because, I mean, something good is going to come out of it for both sides.
I guess to put a finer point on it, Orlando, is what makes him tick. Because if it was about money, he could have already gotten an incredible chunk guaranteed, not all guaranteed. It seems like it's about the principle of it. And I don't, and that what makes him tick isn't what makes most people tick. That's
I don't even know if I could stand on that one for you. Like he's another guy that he loves to win, and he loves the quarterback position. Man, so you know I don't really have a ton of insight because I haven't really dove into it on him with that. But man, I mean, it's never been about the money for him. You know, it's definitely about winning. And you know, I say it all to say, as players, you know, what you do for a living, you know, it's all about respect as well as, you know, other things as far as winning too. So, you know, the principle, whatever that may be, I mean, I feel like that may be a little bit of it, but man, to him, I know what's most important is winning.
Last one for you, Orlando Brown Jr. I've got Baker Mayfield coming up next hour. You got a good story about you got a good story there you want to share?
Man, that's Baker Mayfield story.
Yeah, what do you got?
Man, so I was in college. I was not paying my car note. I got my car snatched, and we just got out of breakfast. I'm looking for my car. I can't find my car. I see Bake in the parking lot. I'm like, hey, listen, they came and snatched my car. Come with me, bro. We're gonna go get my car back. I just need you to show face. They'll let me pay this car note. They'll let me pay half of what I owe if they just see your face. So he was like, all right, let's do it. So he took me up there, showed face. I got my car.
Just because it's Baker Mayfield and it's Oklahoma and
hey man, his name rings bells in that state.
It's like The Price is Right. You get a brand new car. Oh my gosh! All right. Well, now I mean, times are different now for you. You're good. You're good now. Congratulations on everything going on with you. Look for more of my phone calls. I would love to keep in touch and hear from you as you're now part of another new top-notch winning organization in the league. So congrats on that.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Pleasure chatting with you, sir. That's Orlando Brown Jr., new 4-year, $60+ million contract in Cincinnati, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.